having moral capital is one of the single ingredients that catapulted OkCupid from a very challenging position to incredibly relevant, number one in certain countries around the world. How powerful is your business capital without moral capital?
Hi, I'm Jason Harris, and you're listening to Soul and Science. Fast forward your marketing mind in about 20 minutes. This week, which I thought was appropriate for our first episode, it is a first date, if you will. I am joined by the lion-hearted CMO of OkCupid, Melissa Hobley. Melissa Hobley is a leading expert on brand building. She has a reputation for marrying powerful brand marketing with data-driven digital advertising in bold and breakthrough ways that jumpstart brands and create measurable value. Melissa is currently the Global Chief Marketing Officer at OkCupid, one of the largest dating apps in the entire world. As the first CMO at OkCupid, she has made the brand famous for its message of inclusion and progressive advertising. It's always cutting edge. It's always breaking barriers. Prior to OkCupid, Melissa was the VP of Marketing for Walgreens and the CMO of Buyology. Melissa also happens to be a client of Mekanism, and together we've created some amazing progressive work that's moved the needle for her business. Most recently, out-of-home campaign, Every Single Person, which was the first ad campaign to ever mention pansexuality. Hi, Melissa. Welcome to Soul and Science.
Thank you for that amazing intro, and congrats on the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. We're excited. I want to know how you got started in marketing and how you found your way to OkCupid. I think you've been there almost 5 years now, correct?
Yeah, which in marketing is like 7 lifetimes. I am an accidental marketer. I'm from Indiana. I came to New York City to to go to college. And I was a political science major, and I was going to go to law school and work for the state or work in campaigns. And I did a ton of internships, and I did a PR internship, honestly, because it was across the street from my dorm apartment on the Upper West Side. And like 2 weeks in, I was like, what is this world of public relations and marketing? I love it. It is a little sharky, a little fun, a little smart, a little savvy. And that was it. I was on the comms marketing path, and I never looked back.
I love the happenstance marketer, because I think when you're growing up and trying to find yourself and what your passions are, it's very rare that what you go to school for, you end up doing. So, all right, let's turn to OkCupid now. Moral capital and business capital. That's sort of the theme for this episode. It's hard to measure, but how do you think about this idea of progressiveness and inclusivity and building that? You guys have a very clear message and a very clear vision. You know what the soul of the brand stands for. How do you translate that into the science of success, the business side? How do you make sure that that moves the needle and gets you the downloads and the users and the revenue? How do you see that soul of the brand informing the business success?
Yeah, well, I love that question, because I just think we don't talk about that enough in business and in marketing. And so I think it's awesome that you're thinking about these topics and you're exploring it on this podcast, first of all. And I think if more businesses gave that some thought, they'd thrive, their employees would be happier, they wouldn't have retention issues, they'd be able to hire better, all the things, right? They get the partnerships. I think that we had to make it that way. I came in, and OkCupid was in a really unusual position of being 15 years old and never had a marketing campaign, a brand campaign. They had like 9 followers on Twitter and Instagram. It was not a function they had built out, and they didn't have to initially, because OkCupid was created by 2 Harvard math grads who were really smart and very socially, civically, politically engaged, lovely, kind humans who thought technology should help me find a person in the same way that it's helping me like find a car. And the magic of the brand was that they had taken a stance on issues, and they enabled you to filter your matches on the things that you cared about. They had never talked about that really. And they had never amplified that or said, what if we leaned into that more? What if we responded faster to things happening in the world? And so when you start working somewhere, and in some ways it's easier, in some ways it's harder to just start from scratch. You say, well, what is it that actually makes OkCupid different? When we paid attention to the data and we paid attention to what young 20-something daters were telling us, older daters too, they were all saying, I've never had deal breakers as important as they are now. And if you're 20-something, you don't even want to match with someone that doesn't believe that climate change is real. And you don't want to match with someone that doesn't support Black Lives Matter. What was amazing is when we started paying attention to that, there was a lot of conversation about reproductive rights. And one of the first things we did was part of Planned Parenthood and create a pro-choice filter on the product and made it very easy to signal if you're pro-choice, that's a relevant issue if you're a dater, if you're single, right? And when I looked at Twitter that morning from 11 followers, we had added a couple thousand in a day. And then the next day we added more, the next day we added more. And then we started to see it in the business. And then we started to see it in perception. And so it just became a building block. Today, OkCupid is a real player and one of the biggest dating apps in the world. And we have been loud and proud and bold about bring your issues to your dating app, pun intended. And that brings depth, that brings substance, and it is also like an ingredient to a successful relationship. And the other dating apps have not jumped into that. So we're just running with it and, listening to what people are talking about, what they care about. We were the first dating app to add a vaccine badge and Mekanism, and you were involved in that personally. And that was an amazing thing to be doing, Zooms with the White House talking about how we can help get out the vaccine.
It's amazing. Yeah, I think there's two. We work with a ton of brands in our experience, and I think there's some brands that we might pitch a progressive campaign or a campaign that takes a stand, and there's a lot of hesitancy even today to sort of piss off one group or another, and they feel like that might hurt their revenue, and so they sort of aim to go down the middle. There's that. Then on the flip side, when we're working with newer D2C brands that are built by engineers, right? Like OkCupid was ultimately, there's a lack of understanding of marketing, and it's more lower funnel, it's more tactical than building that sort of soul part of the brand. Did you have to fight to say, hey, we are going to take a stand internally? And did you have to push off of the engineering driven part of it to say this is marketing and it's going to work. And if we piss off this many people, we're going to appeal to more people this way. How did you have to navigate that, or was it fairly easy at OkCupid?
I started small, and I think I built some trust with my CEO and with the larger organization. But I also came prepared with the data. Here's what we're seeing. Here's what we're seeing in our own product. Here's what we're seeing in social. Here's how other brands have gone from not a player to relevant. Here's how we get people to talk about us. And again, the beauty was the product truth was there, that we weren't just saying it. We have 16 million answers on gun control alone. We could look at what are people talking about? What are they responding to? What's getting people together, literally. And, we had great partners like you all. Mekanism was incredibly instrumental in helping us say, we have a different point of view. We want to go where other people are not going. But it's all based on how people are really talking. One of the lines we came up with together was, it's okay to choose not to date someone who isn't pro-choice. It's okay to be into NPR and BDSM. You guys helped us bring this kind of drive and passion and mission to life. And that was important too. So also when you build, I think I built trust in the organization by doing good work thanks to the team at Mekanism.
I'm always an advocate for agencies. I think brands are so talented and they have rich departments internally, but it's that outside perspective as if we're a member of the audience and how do we view this brand? The story you're trying to tell is what brand is. Reputation is what the audience tells you your brand is. And your reputation, when you're internal, you might think your brand is perceived away because you're surrounded by people that are working for this brand. The audience outside will really tell you what your brand stands for. And it might be beyond your customers or why you're not getting some customers because they see your brand differently. But I've never seen a brand not take chances and have it pay off in terms of doing bold work. Because even if the bold work backfires in some way, you get traction and you get noticed and you get relevancy. And with such ADD out there, you've got, if you're going to spend money and build something, you better have a point of view. And if you don't, it's going to just be wallpaper. And I think that's really important for brands to know what they stand for.
You're so right. And I think you never lose when you have another perspective come in or say, hey, here's the direction. This is what led to that. Here's where what we're hearing. One of the cool things that Mekanism did for OkCupid was come up with this idea of doing Valentine's Day cards that are like how real people talk. We looked into that and representing real people, we looked into it and we're like, yeah, Valentine's Day cards are cis, hetero, white, old, weird, mushy in a way like only a serial killer would give someone a card that says that. Like, are you trying to take all my money? And we did those cards with you all last year. And we use these amazing queer, non-binary artists of color around the world. And the response was so positive that we're turning them back on with you all in like another week.
Part of OkCupid is you have a really wide tent and say however you want to engage, however you want to interact, whether you're looking for love or you're looking for fun or if you're looking for multiple partners, whatever it might be, we're here for it. Versus, those dating apps that might be like, this is for marriage, this is for hookup, this is for specialized in this audience. Is that ever a hindrance?
On the whole, it's worked for us, especially because what we're learning more about gender and orientation and how fluid these things are. And COVID has been fascinating. To give you one data point, there's been an 84% increase in daters in OkCupid that identify as pansexual. That is unheard of. Like, we never see those kinds of increases. And part of what's driving that was COVID made people kind of go away and say, hang on, how do I really identify and who am I attracted to? And the rise in pansexuality is a little bit of a rejection of, bisexual says I'm attracted to both men and women, but it excludes people that are non-binary. And so more people are saying, well, I'm pansexual because I would be attracted to someone who has they, them pronouns. I would be attracted to, it is actually about the person, not about the gender. And so, I think OkCupid has just been really well positioned because we're learning so much about, and every day I learn something new about how people are connecting and falling in love or attracted or like what's driving the spark. And also we take it, I can't even state how seriously we take that you come in, whether you're trans, you're non-binary, you're young, you're old, you're short, you're tall, you're atheist, you're devout, Orthodox Jewish, that you are affirmed. If you are creating a big tent but small tables where you can find your people and maybe today you are feeling this, but tomorrow you're feeling more like this. Well, we got that too.
I love that. It's sort of a statement on how the world should behave. The challenge sometimes is there's so much work to do. It's hard to figure out where to put the hours and where to put the time because there's so much that needs to be fixed and corrected. And maybe because you guys are focused on this idea of inclusion and you choosing, does that allow you to understand what you want to support and what you don't want to support, and you try not to boil the ocean and attack every progressive issue?
Yeah, it's hard. It is hard. And I can feel your pain because I think you guys probably get a lot of requests to jump into things and help out with stuff. For us, we look at when we're debating something to get involved in, we'll look at how relevant is this issue to our daters. So with Black Lives Matter, we saw that conversation happening, and we saw people proactively putting at the top of their profile, I support BLM, please swipe left if you don't. And so we wanted to make it sexy. We wanted to encourage it. We wanted to help drive that to, how do we light that on fire? And so, I remember having a conversation on a Sunday morning, and we hijacked the product roadmap to turn on a Black Lives Matter badge, but also work with NAACP, donate $1 million in ad space to nonprofits fighting the fight for racial equity and justice. So we look at what our daters care about and think about and what they're talking about. We also, with issues like reproductive rights, that is a real thing that you may encounter if you're dating and you're single and you're sleeping with a guy and a pregnancy takes place. So knowing how someone stands on, knowing how someone's feelings on that issue is important.
It comes back to the audience. So you're using the data, the science from the audience to determine what purpose to focus on because it resonates with them versus your individual desires or your team's desires. You're really letting the audience dictate what's important to some extent.
How do I put the power in her hands or their hands or his hands, from Delhi to Denver to Paris to Detroit?
All right, I have two quick last questions for you, and we're wrapping up here. One is sort of an open-ended one, but from your vantage point and what you see, what do you think the future of dating looks like? Is it where we are now? Is it sort of filtering people more before you meet them? Is it meeting more people? Is it any sense on where you see, the next couple of years of dating trending towards?
People did a lot of video dating in COVID, and whether it was a FaceTime or a Zoom or WhatsApp call, whatever it was. And that's going to stick around. This idea that, wow, my time is precious. I'm so happy I can get back out there, but I'm also being a little careful with my time. I'm going to let's get on a video chat first to see if that thing is there. And that's advice I always gave to people before the pandemic was have a phone call or a video date first. You're going to get a really good idea if there's a connection there. And you might say, let's not meet next week. Let's meet Saturday. Or you might say, yeah, thank you very much.
I love that. All right. Last question. I know you believe this to be true, but I guess for other CMOs listening or for the audience out there, the idea of moral capital leading to business capital and how you would sort of feel with your experience at OkCupid of how that works and how other brands might think about that.
How powerful is your business capital without moral capital? Having moral capital is one of the single ingredients that catapulted OkCupid from a very challenging position to incredibly relevant, number one in certain countries around the world, producing a tremendous lift on revenue and margin, and most importantly, helping people find their person by investing in moral capital on our side and encouraging our users to share what matters to them.
I love that. This has been really fun. Thank you for all your insights and time. It's been amazing.
This was the best first date. Thank you, Jason.
Soul and Science is a Mekanism podcast produced by Maggie Bowles, Ryan Tillotson, Tyler Nielsen, Emma Swanson, and Lily Jablonski. The show is edited by Daniel Ferreira with theme music by Kyle Merritt. And I'm your host, Jason Harris.